Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today.
We're live on SimSpeed TV, bringing you coverage of ANZ E-Series and Motorsport Australia Esports Category King. This is the second weekend of racing as we move format to format, category to category. We've done open wheel of Formula 4s. We've had GT racing. Tonight, it's all about the ovals, dirt and asphalt, to see which Australian driver in this official Motorsport Australia Esports Series is going to come up on top across all of the different disciplines. David Haynes here with Daniel Yeaman to bring you coverage as we kick things off from Limaland Motorsports Park. It's a short dirt oval. We're using these new iRacing dirt mini stocks. It should be super exciting racing.
Yep, that's certainly the plan, David. Thank you very much for the introduction there. Unfortunately, I don't have a track map to show off Limaland in all its glory here tonight. But
I can simplify it for you.
It is quite straightforward. Yes, it is a good point to make there indeed.
It's quite dirt and quite circle. And I think you could move the blimp cam and give us a track overview here. It looks like a really awesome track. It's got that small local track feeling. The fans can get close. The racing will be competitive through the wide turns and short straights. These cars race super closely to each other as well. We're not doing massive horsepower, massive speed, big wing sprint cars. These are a dirt street stock, mini stock type, a bit over 200 horsepower. So what you do is spend a lot of time driving them, maintaining momentum. We've got 2 10-minute heats for the oval dirt racing in tonight's coverage.
Yeah, that we do indeed. In fact, I'll literally have a graphic for you in just a second here for you, David. And yeah, as you said, is another race coming up after this, which will be a little different, but certainly keep to the oval theme that we have for this week's running of the Category King.
So 13 to 14 drivers in at the moment. And of course, this is just the first of 2 racetracks we're going to be visiting tonight. We also go pavement oval racing at one of the most famous racing facilities anywhere in the world, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So across all of these different categories, who can come up on top? Having spoken that we've already had F4, we've already had GT4, now we have dirt oval and asphalt oval. Qualifying is not far away for this dirt oval racing, dirt mini stock at Limaland Motorsports Park, 2 10-minute races. Of course, it's rolling starts. That's how you got to do it. on a short oval like this. Officially, the racetrack length, 400 meters, 0.4 of a kilometer. I believe that's basically a quarter of a mile. And that's normally how these things get measured, isn't it? Half a mile, quarter of a mile, 3/8 of a mile. That's typical dirt oval racing.
Yeah, 100%. That is indeed. So that's very much what we expect to see. And we'll talk more about the asphalt oval racing later on, I have to say. But yeah, as you said, it's probably America's greatest pinnacle, at least. Well, I think so. And also they call it the greatest spectacle in motorsport when they go to Indianapolis with the Indy cars. So I think that probably fits the bill there. But we can talk more about that in due course. As you said, indeed, we aren't too far away from qualifying here, David. So tune in. Here's how practice is shaping up at the moment for the drivers in the dirt mini stock at Limaland so far.
And there's some good liveries out there as well. That looks like baked beans. We've got Kool-Aid. Zach Rattray-White, that is a machine of interesting aesthetics, but hopefully for Zach Rattray-White, it can deliver for him. You'll see on the timing column there, he's by 0.004 of a second at the top of practice. Now, track evolution on these dirt tracks is so key from one session to the next throughout a race. Really can only be 5 or 10 laps, and sometimes where the speed is, where the grip is, moves around drastically. At the end of this long practice session, I'm seeing a really solid berm up wide, up against the wall. You can set these things up for the track to be redone between sessions, and often that is what happens. So we'll see what track progression looks like. But my favorite car out there at the moment, I haven't picked up exactly which driver, has a canary yellow VL Commodore, and it makes me want to wave the biggest Australian flag I can find.
Well, let's go find them then. Oh, no, canary yellow. I'm looking. Look for something that sticks out as bright yellow.
Not mellow yellow. I don't think they're out on track at the moment.
Oh, that would cruelly deny us. There is one person not on track, and it's Benjamin Roberts, who currently sits there second place on the list. So I'm getting the feeling that maybe...
Yeah, he's out, right? Is he on track now?
Yes, he's just literally... There it is. Yeah, he is indeed.
Look at that glorious thing. Reminds me very much of the VL Commodore my uncle used to have. I don't think he had the Nissan Turbo, but this thing, it's got enough power. So you'll see Benjamin Roberts, he's second in that practice at the moment. So this is a competitive car as well, with 45 seconds left in the practice. Then they'll go over to their qualifying, set the grid. Now, 10 minutes doesn't sound like much at all, but that could be as many as 40 laps. How important do we think qualifying is going to be?
Well, I don't know the relative experience of all the drivers here when it comes to dirt ovals specifically, David, so little hard to say with any confidence, but I get the feeling not massively. We've also been advised that iRacing automatic full course yellows will be in effect if we have an incident. So that may stall us out on lap count and momentum and runs if it happens. So that will be one thing to keep an eye on as well in the races here tonight on the dirt.
Ben Roberts in this practice, just seeing where the racetrack is at, ripping the top side through a couple of the corners, now trying down low to find out where the grip is. Practice will come to an end, and the competitive section of ANZ E-Series Motorsport Australia Esports Category King get underway with qualifying. Sets the grid for the first of 2 races on dirt, and then we move to Indianapolis for that racing. So Zach Rattray-White and Benjamin Roberts, the 2 drivers to watch here on the dirt. From the practice form, they've been super competitive. But in qualifying, I think if you can just be in the first 3 rows, you'll be able to make some moves. That track evolution can open up more lanes and passing. If you can find the grip and make your opponents defend, I think in the space of just a few minutes, you can make a lot of positions and ground on a racetrack like this. One of the first drivers we're going to see out there, Justin Talent. Now, has the racetrack been graded again? This looks like very much a carryover from practice.
If I saw it right when I was getting ready for this one, David, they have indeed reset the track state back to 20%. So there should be a decent amount of grip on offer here, I would think, based on that. As we're just going to stay on board here with Justin as he gets indeed the first time on the board there at a 14.8. But it's going to be eclipsed.
See if there's a drive shaft through the cockpit.
Should be able to do so, although Justin's going to finish his runs here, which means I might miss out. Oh, that's up. Here's the inside of a dirt mini stock. I'm not seeing it if it is here. And it would appear that Justin, despite having his 2 laps done, is going to carry on his merry way here and do some more laps in preparation, because I guess all practice is certainly good enough as Byron Phillips to the top of the time charts.
Yep, so with 2 laps of qualifying but 5 minutes in this session, the fastest lap times we saw in practice were sort of 14 seconds, 15 seconds. It is a super quick lap around here, 400 meters, and you find some grip. So drivers, some of them have waited a little while to this session. Ben Roberts, I've seen, he's just brought the canary yellow, is it a BT1 package? What was it called? He's just gone out on track, and very quickly the stopwatch is going to start for him to see if he can match the practice time and get on the front row of the grid once again. He is running a little bit lower on this version of the racetrack compared to earlier when maybe up top was the way to go, and his first lap time puts him up top, and we've now started lap number 2, so through turns 1 and 2 there. Or is that 3 and 4? That might have been 3 and 4, my goodness.
It goes by so quickly here that we're going to have to be on our toes, and there's also a decent amount of symmetry. As you can see here, just called him now. I was wondering if he was going to come out. Zach Rattray White, after 2.5 minutes in the session, decides now is the time for him to get out and roll. Let's have a look here and see how the winner from the Formula Cars at Montreal last time out goes here on the dirt at Limaland. Has been racing in, I believe, the Oceanic Dirt Sim Events Sprint Car Championships, David, this year. So does have some time with a bit of slip and slide under his belt.
That infield pit exit is what was confusing me. So that's 1 lap time completed now. See, it'll send Zach Rattray White to the top. He's going to be on the front row the way things stand at the moment. He's got 1 more lap, looking to improve on 14.4. And out of turn 4 across the start-finish line, his 2 laps are done, and he improves, but only super fractionally on his second lap. Very consistent, both of them 14.4s. Only within a couple of thousandths of a second of each other. Sam Chapman looks like his qualifying's done, and he'll be 4th. So on the second row for him, Byron Phillips currently on the 3rd row. Justin Talent, I think, has just completed his 2 laps and gone to 6th. So we've had laps from everyone. They've all completed their qualifying now.
Yeah, looks like that's the case. And yeah, 11 drivers in the session. 11 times have been set. So it is just now a matter of waiting for the clock to run dry, and then we'll be able to throw to the grid and get ready for the first race of 2 here tonight.
You love a local dirt track sponsor. I am dying to ring up that steakhouse, see what catering they can do. That'd go well this weekend. Got all the other little local sponsors around, sponsors on the cars, and we look forward to 2, hopefully action-packed races. There is a chance that we eat up a bit of the clock with cautions, but equally, I can foresee one of these races going really, really quickly.
Yeah, that's very true indeed. I think we might also see cautions in that case. Actually, let me double check this for you here. So, bringing up the information available via the iRacing UI for this session. Yeah, full course cautions are checked on. We've got Lucky Dog and Waverans also enabled so as well. So, that hopefully won't delay caution procedures too much here tonight, as we are getting close to the end of the session. We do not have full course cautions for the asphalt oval racing at Indianapolis at this time. So that's a bit of a difference there, I would say, as there we are, checkered flag will fly there in the session, and that means we can get ourselves the list of qualifying times once more here in just a moment and get ready to go racing from Limaland for race number 3 of the Category King.
Yeah, and you called it correctly. We started practice with a track condition of low usage 20%, got reset for the start of qualifying, but from here on out, it carries over. So how they just found the track in qualifying is very similar to how race 1 is going to start track conditions. Zach Rattray White and Benjamin Roberts on the front row, 2 of the most outstanding dirt mini stock liveries, and they were oh so close, but Zach Rattray White once again looks to have the upper hand on the dirt. Byron Phillips and Sam Chapman, they are row number 2. Phillips with a great helmet. Sam Chapman, that's just a classic, simple livery for him there at 4th place. Callum Newton, a Toyota throwback, the old, almost like hill climb Celica there, almost in 5th. Justin Talent in 6th there. Oh yeah, it's the Kool-Aid man on the third row of the grid. Next row back has Brendan Crawford and Jamie Christensen. Their times only separated by a thousandth of a second. On a small oval, the margins are also very, very small. There's Rook Koistra, mellow yellow machine from 9th. Diane Feldman starting from 10th in dirt mini stocks at Limaland. And then there's only a few other drivers left in qualifying times. It was literally just David Atkinson there, I think, out of 11. A few drivers without qualifying times was Callum Newton and Sam Chapman, I think, as well. There's a few drivers that had no qualifying time, I think. That was still
I'm seeing all 11 drivers look like they're going to be taking part do have times. We've got 3 members of race control in the session, and thanks to the fact that they're also in the dirt mini stock, they show up here on our grid. So I believe we should expect 11 starters, David, and get ready to go racing here in just a moment's time for the Category King on the dirt.
Yeah, my timing screen was getting jumbled up. You've got 11 dirt mini stocks behind the pace truck. Pace speed 56 kilometers an hour. 35 miles an hour? 35 miles an hour, I reckon that is.
That sounds like the kind of number that checks out when you're talking about most of the pacing speeds seem to be roughly, and well, we're on dirt as well in America, so why wouldn't it be something nice and round when talking Imperial?
They also love speed limits that end with 5, like 35, 45, 55, 65 miles an hour. For whatever reason. But that's how they do things around here. We're about to get going around here. 20 seconds left for them all to grid up. I think we have most of our drivers on the grid. A couple of them revving. Look at that exhaust exit out of the middle of the passenger door. We said about 200 horsepower. They're the little compact race cars. They should be able to race super close. They should be able to door bang a little bit if they need to. Hopefully not too much.
I'm a little worried to zoom in like this, David. I mean, doing so to show off that side exhaust you said, but also, let's see here, we've got endorsed by Matt Malone, Airbud, a whole bunch of beans. I don't even want to know exactly what the face...
It almost looks like one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the nose, but please, spare us all. Don't zoom in too far.
Yeah, no, we'll keep our distance from... We'll keep our distance from that one there at this time. All right. The short oval like this, I would suspect also we're going to have 2 formation laps before we get set to get rocking for this one here. So with tight times in qualifying, David, any thoughts on who we might see at the top here at the end of this one?
Well, I think knowing that it's possible we cram in as many as 40 laps, it's whichever driver best adjusts to the changing track conditions. If suddenly there's a whole heap of speed up the top of the racetrack, then the driver who finds that first could be the driver best placed. Your pole sitter starts on the inside of the front row. On a very, very fresh track like this, that's where you want to be. But will it remain so across this 10 minutes? Again, potentially as many as 40 laps. The pace truck is in, your pole sitter is going, and Category King is underway at Limaland. Look at that, taking the low side, right up against the tractor tyres, all the way up against the tractor tyres. Byron Phillips is through on Benjamin Roberts and into second place there as well.
For a second, I thought he was going to get tagged. So we do have a first tag. I think there's Sam Chapman backwards on the track. And there we are. The full course cautions, unfortunately, takes us barely 2 laps and 20 seconds before we'll have to arrest this race and bring out the iRacing pace truck for the first time. And, well, yep, now we know, even here in the heat, good thing is the clock will tick down regardless of this fact here. So it will just mean, though, pause everyone again, bring them back in line, and then we'll see who can get the jump once again. Other thought for me, David, will this now mean that the track is a little more preserved if they're not bashing around at full pace and sliding, given that it looked to be pretty orderly here under pace car?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. As I said, we're going to go as many as 40 laps if it stays green, but obviously we haven't, and now we won't. So you could get significantly less track evolution by just having 1 or 2 cautions in this race. Sam Chapman just managed to stay on the lead lap there, so he'll catch back up. Taking a look at which drivers in that very short time were able to make a couple of gains. Byron Phillips got from row 2 up into second place, so he was on the inside of row number 2, and that inside lane early on this relatively fresh track looked really, really quick. That's where Benjamin Roberts dropped back. He didn't find much speed up high. Callum Newton also managed to move forward a position as obviously Sam Chapman dropped back. Going to be a 2-wide restart. Looks like we're headed for that right now. Zach Rattray White leads us, but he immediately gets turned. The Beans machine have been toasted.
Oh, man, I was going to grab a replay briefly of what happened to Sam Chapman. Well, make that 2 replays needed now to have a look at what on earth happened there with the stack up behind Rattray White, because, yeah, it immediately arrests the race once again.
Man, well, I think it looks like coming towards that green really bunched up the driver on the outside up high. Really, I mean, we have to go back even earlier than that. It was before any of them even crossed the green flag. So there goes the pace truck in. We have got Byron Phillips on the outside there. Rattray White, I think he comes a little bit across, if I'm honest with you.
Let me go back one more time here, see if I can grab him, and we'll try and jump on board with Byron Phillips here. Unfortunately, my angles aren't going to be all too great. We've only really got the onboard angle here inside the car. Yeah, it really does feel like Rattray White trying to get up high, and Byron Phillips said he'd rather stay on the left. As I'm hearing in the background, they've actually had to delay the restart. As you can see, there was a bit of carnage there trying to get themselves sorted to actually get going here.
So through all of that, by the time the caution flew, it looks like Benjamin Roberts got back to the lead. Pace truck is in, so by all accounts, we're about to go racing again. Benjamin Roberts.
No, it's happened again.
No. What?
Oh.
It's a repeat. Now there is a common factor. And that common factor makes it look like the driver restarting out of second place has done it again.
It's not looking too great now, no. Twice in a row, Byron Phillips. In fact, what this has done, it's causing such pandemonium. Look, they've all been told to pass the pace truck because it's throwing the timing and scoring for an absolute loop now. The pace truck wouldn't even have barely made it back to the, gotten into the pit. So they'll loop around here and they'll head to pick up try and even get gaps in information. The race leader is currently scored as Callum Newton here, just in behind Rattray White, who's almost a lap down, but not quite at this stage. That's just how crazy this is starting to get.
Now, apparently it was Oscar Wilde who said, to wreck once may be regarded as misfortune, to wreck twice looks like carelessness. So what on earth has happened in these restarts? And immediately you see how much of the clock it eats through. The difference between racing and pacing on a short oval like this is a really big speed delta.
Yeah, 100%. It is very much, yeah. What are we at? We've only completed, we were expecting, well, impressively, we've still completed 14 laps. Because we're just checking, or yeah, as they've delayed the green, but the pace truck just pulled down into the pit lane. Hopefully that's not going to throw things for too much of a loop here.
The pace truck's in, but Barney's still got the yellow flag up, and the pace truck drives through the pit lane and right back out. So we did not get a green flag there, and no one moved.
All right, I get the feeling we might be trying to go green this time round. And this time, Callum Newton's going to put the foot in early. I think he's going to get up in front of Byron Phillips. We are going to get a restart and make it to turn one with the front two at least. But Phillips immediately to the inside, sliding up there, and will take the race lead into turn three.
So as the grip right now off most of the restarts, it looked like it was down low where Byron Phillips runs at the moment. Callum Newton's trying a couple of different lines. And with that restart, these two have gotten well away from the rest of the field, where Christensen and Talent are going door to door for third place. Brendan Crawford back in fifth right now as well. High, how much speed and momentum can you flow up there? Byron Phillips looks like the driver still picking the best lines, so we get another yellow.
Unfortunately, this time it's for Farouk Koistrup, as he's gone around on the exit of turn two. We'll try and get a replay of that one there in a second if we can.
What happened deeper in the pack outside of the top five to bring out another caution. We'll take a look here.
There's the end of it.
Okay. Tiny moment before that. I think he was racing David Atkinson. Atkinson has a look to the inside. That is a pretty ill-advised move, in fact, from Diane Feldman. I read 84 as 61 for some reason.
Oh, look, it's pretty squeezy up there and keeping tabs on it. Also, does it get cut off by... It's the exhaust also. I don't blame you. The exhaust will be messing with you there. As go back live. Oh, apologies, didn't hit the button right, apparently. So, inside of 3 minutes to go in this opening heat. We're going to do this again very shortly. Also note, I didn't fit it into the information graphic. When we do the second race here on the dirt, we're going to invert the top 10 from the results here of race 1, which will practically result in a full field inversion. Ben Roberts waved around the pace truck. We'll get back on the lead lap here just in time to maybe snatch a couple of spots. Critically, if he can snatch one, he moves to the very front of the grid for race 2.
Yeah, so Zachary White is in the 8th position now on this restart. Very little time left to make too many more moves. 2 minutes left. Pace car still leading them. Pace
Lights are out.
As it was.
So we'll stack them up 2 wide and try again here. See if we can get this race running for a couple of laps under green. It'll be in the control of Byron Phillips to the inside here. Down the back stretch. Hopefully it's not his turn to be turned around. Drifting across the road to Callum Newton. He puts the foot down early in 3 and 4. Will get clear. Green flag flies. And let's see here as they make their way, rubbing up against the outside wall. No one is leaving much room here at this stage. Make it through 1 and 2 so far. Okay.
Yeah, so Newton's still trying to fight up high there, making a bit of contact with Jamie Christensen.
Oh, there it is.
Gets turned.
Oh, it's a big one.
Pile up between turns between 4 and 1 even. That is where Barney's got the flag stand.
And you know, that might just end the race here under yellow if they can't restart this fast enough. Drivers now here trying to get back in position based on where they're meant to be, but Christensen unfortunately is going to be sent to the very rear of the order. And once again, yeah. Oh, Byron passing the pace truck there when he probably shouldn't have. So, slot back in line, sir. And get that sorted. As I'm hearing, there's a black flag, several black flags. Oh dear. Rue Koistra, iRacing black flag apparently for gaining time illegally. Same for Ben Roberts in the VL. And Sam Chapman. So drama there, it seems. And then Justin Tellett, mechanical black flag as well. So it's a right bit of madness here towards the end of race 1 in the dirt mini stocks.
So then things look good for Byron Phillips because he's in first, but second has a black flag. Benjamin Roberts in 5th has a black flag. Requestra back in 7th has a black flag. And what's looked like one of his biggest rivals, Zachary White's back in the 9th position. This looks like we're going to get restarted with a green flag and a white flag. Phillips just needs to hold on for a quarter of a mile to win the first of 2 races. Category king from Limaland. Sam Chapman's not close enough to try to challenge him to the inside. Bit of space to 3rd place, he's got it all to himself. And Byron Phillips looks like he'll take the checkered flag and the first race win. A couple of post-race penalties are gonna shuffle that order now, though.
Yeah, it sure will. And so we now wait to see exactly what the final order is going to be and who's the... Well, with Justin Tellett unfortunately retiring to the pits there right at the end with damage. It would appear that has meant that we are going to see him start as the last position driver for this one here. Well, race 2 of this one here tonight, David. So, now that we've exited heat number 1, gone to the warm-up, here's what those penalties have done to the race results.
So it looks like black flags applied. Byron Phillips still keeps the race win. Brendan Crawford gets 2nd. Diane Feldman to 3rd. David Atkinson to 4th. Zachary White moves up to 5th. And Callum Newton, Jamie Christensen. And it's applying about 10 seconds to these black flags, I think, give or take there. So Sam Chapman in the 8th. Benjamin Roberts in 9th. Rue Koistra scored a lap down in 10th. And Brendan Crawford, I think because of the damage he had, he might have had to pit. No, yeah, Justin Tellett scored as 11th on that graphic.
Yes,
My timing, I was looking at the wrong one and it moved on to the warm-up already. This is the race results, and they appear correct.
Yes, I've been able to lock in these results here as I think one of the race control team members, based on the fact that name is completely blank, is out on track here in the warm-up. So they don't get to do any racing tonight around this place, but they're certainly apparently hanging out sideways whilst we're in the midst of getting ready for this second race on the dirt. And yes, we invert the top 10. So a reminder, the driver who finished P10 was Rue Koistra. He'll now share the front row with Ben Roberts and work your way back through the field until you get to Byron Phillips in P1. And unfortunately for Justin Talent, he'll be off the back of the field as he finished there in that first race.
We certainly had 10 minutes, but we don't feel like we had 10 minutes of racing in that first one. Ben Roberts is warming up, and I believe that this warm-up session will move the racing line for race number 2.
Yes, it should indeed. Good point there to note for this one here. Yeah, it's a carryover track usage from the opening sprint, and it will carry over into the second race as well. So, yeah, these couple of laps here will certainly, you even just see it here from even this upper blimp camera, you can just see the changing colour of the dirt there on that sort of low line through the corners and up to the high bankings on the straights versus the darker patches right up in the turns and down the bottom on the straights.
Spectator parking, the haulers, very tight infield's pit lane there. So you take pit entry in the middle of the final corners, and then pit exit actually feeds you out on the exit of 2. So that's the pace truck's got to follow that. The drivers following that as they enter the track on this warm-up. You know, clean VL Calais turbos are going for over 100 grand now. Insane.
That I did not know. So I do say, it's always a pleasure to broadcast with you, David, because you come up with some excellent facts and information relevant or at least adjacent to the racing that we have here on track. So I'll keep that in mind as a very much Holden born and bred man myself, although it's probably a bit out of my reach for the time being anyways.
But it's also in this same category of car where you'll see some listings on car sales, and they'll be listed for a price that I don't think they frequently actually change hands for. Like I saw a HSV W427, which was a very, very limited production high horsepower one, and they're asking like $500,000, and I don't think they think they're actually gonna get that, or it's priced for a quick sale, but it is listed at that price and has been for a year or so now. So that doesn't necessarily mean its value, but some people will occasionally list rare or very clean of some of these Australian high-performance cars at some very eye-watering prices.
Yes. Just before we get to the race session, David, a couple little updates coming through from Race Control in the text chat, which is commands I've sent. First of all, we aren't going to go double file any restarts here in the feature race, so that hopefully might clean up a couple of the moments we had there on the attempts to get races going again. And secondly, they are resetting the track state once again. So despite what we were thinking about it maybe seeing the track evolve here through warm-up into the feature race, we will be going back to a 20% track state to start off the final 10-minute run here tonight.
...1988 Holden Calais turbo, 177,000 kilometers, $80,000. Oh, you wouldn't want to be denting that thing up across 40-ish laps of Limaland, but we're about to get into this reverse top 10 race number 2. So as they line up on the grid for their second and final dirt race, pavement racing coming up later on, this is what the grid will look like. Rue Koistra is the beneficiary of a top 10 invert to start on the front row and on the inside. Benjamin Roberts will be on the outside. that inside looked like the place to be in these track conditions, if I'm honest with you. So Sam Chapman will start out of third with Jamie Christensen in fourth. Row number 3 will have Callum Newton on the inside. Zach Rattray White, fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying. He will be starting out of 6th, the outside of row 3 for race number 2. David Atkinson and Zion Feldman will be 7th and 8th on row 4. Row 5 and the final of the inverts will contain Brendan Crawford on the inside, Byron Phillips on the outside. It's Justin Talent in lucky last who misses out on the inversion. Oh yeah, the Kool-Aid car will have to work its way forward. Same race length though, 10 minutes. If we stay green, it'll be a lot of laps. If we don't, we might spend a bit of time looking at the back of iRacing's pace truck.
Yeah, I did hear some more words from the race control team to the drivers in this one here, so see if they get the memo and are able to apply it to good effect here tonight. As we watch now again, 2 formation laps here due to the short nature of Limaland. And then be in the hands of Luke Oyster there on the inside in the mellow yellow 252. Can he stay ahead of Ben Roberts? Or will Roberts on the outside be able to get a run around through turns 1 and 2? As this appears to be the one and only time we should see them start/restart 2 by 2. As through turn 4 they come. Green flags are in the air, David, and we're underway for the second race on the dirt here at Limaland.
So Koistra is keeping it very conservative on the low line. Roberts has gone right round the outside into the lead of the race. Now Sam Chapman's looking down the inside to try to grab second place. And Koistra spins around.
Spins indeed. I'm just wondering, Zach Ratcho, I think was the car I saw in behind. Was there a tiny touch there that might have assisted in that moment? To the replay, I think we should go, David. And I know, I'm watching that. Not enough time. Back some more we need to go. And we'll have to go on board here. Does this tell enough of a tale? It wasn't Zach, my apologies. Or was it here?
Chapman goes down the inside, Christensen's round the outside, and then Zach Rattray White does get Rue Koistra's bumper in the middle of the road. I think turns him around, if I'm honest.
Let's go
everyone
down.
else, like, we're going to get past Rue Koistra by going higher or going lower, not by going straight into their mellow yellow rear bumper.
Yeah, that's quite the convincing point there as to whether there was contact. And unfortunately, the answer was very much a yes.
That was a really good race start from Ben Roberts, though, because he found speed higher up than most others have been able to do. He got to the race lead, and then everything happened behind him. Green flag waves. Bit of overlap for second and third. Maybe there shouldn't be. Roberts leading us. Zach Rattray White moving on the outside as Sam Chapman up into the second position. Chapman holding that third. It's Christensen, I think, that you see going up high, and I'm not sure it's working for him. Byron Phillips a little bit lower, looks quicker in the Caterpillar. Look at Christensen again, just a car width wider than everyone else. And so you've got single file for your top 3. Christensen in 4th, looking like the driver under most pressure. Phillips already moved 5 positions in this race, but he gets checked up in the middle, has a slide, loses his momentum, and look at Callum Newton try to find some speed on him. We're fanning out, we're getting a couple of good green flag laps of racing. Why did I say that?
Oh, yeah, I think I just saw
why
that.
did I say that? The caution comes out right on cue. The 91 of Justin Talent has gone around. I'm so incredibly sorry.
You couldn't have timed that better, David. No, that's quite... well, I like to deny the existence of the commentator's curse. I'm not sure I can in this case. David Atkinson, the other car involved there.
So Justin Talent and David Atkinson. Talent down low. Atkinson gets some oversteer. He's a bit lower than he was trying to run, and as he sort of maybe I think gets out of the throttle, corrects. The two of them meet. Not particularly malicious, but just a little bit clumsy between the both of them at the tail end of the pack there. The iRacing Silverado is leading us. Zach Rattray White has managed to work his way to second place in the green flag laps that we've had. Byron Phillips was on a bit of a run, but I think he just stalled out a little bit as that caution came. He's only worked his way up to 6th place. He was trying to get around Christensen and Callum Newton. He almost had both of them. But then he might have picked the wrong lane, dropped those 2 spots, and then the caution came out, cementing him in 6th. But the green flag's about to come out once again. Rattray White, very aggressive restart, right at the rear bumper of Roberts. A lot of angle from both of them through turns 1 and 2. They make a little bit of contact. Rattray White's going to help Benjamin Roberts up just a little bit high. And Rattray White, he gets all the way to the inside tractor tyres. Good run off the corner from Roberts, and he gets into his rival and spins him around.
Oh, checks up as well, trying to give the spot back. It doesn't matter, that's going to throw the caution in this case. And it will mean, I think Roberts does now inherit the race lead once more, but that's probably going to be looked at with a bit of a tisk-tisk. We'll have to see if we get some updates from the race control team.
See, Roberts had a good run off the preceding corner. What he needed to do was either back out of it and try to stay high, or look low earlier than that. And he's just got in the rear bumper of his rival. And the thing about it is, I think you can give a bit of a tap to your rival's rear bumper. It's when you do, and then you stay in the throttle, that you're making a bit of a pelican of yourself.
Yes, indeed. Now, do we have time to... Okay, lights are on. We've got one more lap. I'm going to quickly go back to another replay of that one there. Go on board with Roberts here.
So this is Roberts up high, so he gets good momentum here. And then he doesn't look high, he doesn't look low. He just gets straight into the rear bumper of his rival, who's going for the low line through the next corner.
Yeah, just the tiniest bit. Yeah, well, tiniest bit into the rear of him. Just almost, I think, as Rattray as well is just starting to tip the car in, and the rear end is lightening up. Roberts with the hammer down in the middle of 3 and 4. We'll go back to green once again, as we're now inside of 5 minutes to go in this second race on the dirt. Chapman's got one of the little tyres on the inside. It's where you're not meant to put the car, David. It's going to put him under threat from Christensen through turns 3 and 4. Oh, no, and around.
Byron Phillips has been making good ground, but he's sniffing for an inside line that wasn't happening. And he's made a little bit of contact. It's been good race restart from Christensen to that point, but it was Byron Phillips trying to get past Sam Chapman that brings out another yellow at Limaland.
Big dive up the inside, and yeah, gets sort of stuck into him there for a moment. Let's go back one more time and have another look at that one there. On board, down at the ground. So you can see Christensen to the outside. We're looking for 101 of Chapman here. Up in front, in comes the slide job. There's a car there though, Byron, and straight through he goes.
Can you hear the throttle better than me? Because that's, again, what I was talking about earlier.
He's holding it reasonably steady and definitely not trying to jam the throttle in there by the sounds of that on board.
Okay.
But he's not, doesn't sound like the car was he wasn't trying to lose speed by the sound of that.
Because he's trying to throw down the inside of the driver who was in third, Christensen, and then he's hit the driver who was in second, Chapman. And we got a little bit of bumper as we're about to go green flag racing again. Benjamin Roberts is holding it up high, and then he cuts down to get to power in the green flag. Third and fourth are into each other.
Oh, Callum Newton had Rattray White trying to get up on his outside for the green, because you can pass to the outside, or at least get overlap to the outside before the line there. This time, inside slide job from Rattray White. Can Newton cross him up, though, on the run to 1? He can. Gets back to 4th place for now, but clearly Rattray White thinks he's got the pace, and he's not afraid to slide in to get it. Oh, he puts Newton up to the wall on the exit of 2.
Yeah, Phillips and Christensen were also battling over 2nd place, and Phillips has managed to solidify that. He almost slid up and turned himself on Christensen. Now the battle side by side's a bit further back between Crawford and Newton. So Crawford, I think, is the one on the inside here. Newton around the outside. Look, this is the move that Newton's been doing time and time again. Cut back in the middle of the corner, get back to the inside line again. Much more slip angle being driven from Rattray White in front of them as they remain side by side over these positions here, 5th and 6th. I like Newton's car placement in that 72. He's been doing this well consistently, even if he doesn't have the outright pace.
Oh, what's happened in front?
Yellow from Christensen.
Whoa, that came out of nowhere, and
He was
as a
doing well
result,
in the top 3, and it looked like he might have overdriven this.
I'll get a replay up in just a second. Let's see here, Christensen. Yeah, just... Oh, we don't need that much long. Let's go. He's dived to the pits as well, so... Oh, pardon me, that's the wrong one. Let's go this one here. And look for the number 5 of Jamie. Yeah, all by himself. Or trying to track with Phillips. That's a bit hot. That's a bit hot. And around she goes. Oh, and Retro White drills him in the left rear as a result.
Well, that's different to a lot of the other cautions we've seen, but you can tell that Christensen in the battle for second place thought he'd try to rip the high line. There simply was not the grip there. That level of speed, he's done himself a mischief and ended up parked in front of the field coming through. Lights off the pace truck. Benjamin Roberts still leading this one. We might get 2 or 3 more laps with less than a minute left on the clock. Byron Phillips again, biggest mover through this race. Look at him up into second place now. He's going to maybe look to challenge Roberts on this restart. Roberts still holding him until we get going now. Trying to pass around the outside goes Zach Rattray White. So now he's the one up high as a few of the other drivers stay low, like Callum Newton. So trying to ask for some space around the outside. Zach Rattray White in the 3rd position as we battle door to door for the lead. It's not going to work out for Byron Phillips. He loses his momentum. Benjamin Roberts around the outside as the white flag should be about to wave, and now spun around Rattray White and Byron Phillips. No yellow flies. So Benjamin Roberts keeps his race lead, but the white and the checkered will shortly. Which one are they getting just
white
now?
There.
Like the white flag with 1 more to go.
And I think because, spin in the background, Feldman around in the 84 has clambered over the inside towards pit entry. Ben Roberts, though, holds them off on the final restart and does the 4-lap dash to the line. He will win the second race on the dirt. There's been all kinds of... Nope, they're just the guys after the race now. All getting into each other because they're that close at the end. And just like that, everyone's across the line. We have ourselves a race result.
We sure do. The Canary Yellow Machine, Benjamin Roberts has been able to take that win. And Callum Newton got to second in the end there from Brendan Crawford. So high drama over second and third place very late on in that race. We get 31 laps, all things considered, with Ben Roberts had Callum Newton and Brendan Crawford, and then Byron Phillips in 4th. At one point, could have been the biggest mover through the race. He ends up with the 4th place, just ahead of Sam Chapman. They were really close in the end. Jamie Christensen in 6th, Rue Koistra in 7th, Justin Talent in 8th, Zach Rattray White in 9th, Dan Feldman in 10th, and David Atkinson in 11th after race 2.
Good news is no one finishes off the lead lap, as it were, well, as it is in that race there. And not seeing anything in the race control channel. Looks like we've had our podium from race number 2 join us. I think we might want to start perhaps today 3rd place. And I'll bring in Brendan Crawford to chat to you here, David Haynes, at the end of the dirt racing at Limaland.
Yep, 3rd place in race number 2, 2nd place in race number 1. Oh, chaos out there, Brendan, but you come away with some decent results on the dirt.
I did. I'm very, very happy with how I ended up with these races. They were a bit chaotic at the start, of course, not knowing how many people know the dirt tracks and stuff like that. But for the amount of little practice that I did, I can't complain with where I'm at.
Absolutely. So these mini dirt street stocks, they're quite new to iRacing. They look a decent sort of middle ground between the Legends and some of the bigger dirt racing cars. What's the key driving characteristic to these that you're trying to get the speed out of them with?
Well, it's completely different to the dirt stocks in my opinion. I feel like in the normal dirt stocks you can actually sort of get on the brakes a little bit more, but with these ones you sort of just have to send it and just hope that it sort of goes. There was a fair bit of grip out on the track, so you could just sort of send a slider into the inside and come out wide, and that's sort of how you carried your speed through. So yeah, it was a good race. I'm very happy with it.
Yep, twice in the top 3, moving up through the field from 7th to 2nd, and then from 9th to 3rd across those 2 races. Congratulations, and best of luck on the pavement.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate your broadcasting.
There you go, Brendan Crawford. What a nice young man. And then second on the podium for race number 2 was Callum Newton. You're going to take this one, Daniel?
Oh, I should be able to manage this one for you here indeed, David. And we welcome Callum into the box, and had to fend off a couple of drivers there, Callum, but worked out quite nicely for you there in race 2 tonight.
Yeah, it was hard to stay on the track, especially with all the carnage going on in front of me, but just managed to stay clear. And then when the white flag came out, I just completed that last lap and was like, all right, cool, cross the line second. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, just having a look at your results from start to finish. 5th place in qualifying, so certainly not too shabby there. And then 6th place in race 1. Obviously, the first race there tonight, we had a lot of cautions and barely, very tricky to get a run going. Did that affect you in any meaningful way? Did you reckon you would have been better if you had a longer run to maybe get some work done, or sort of 6-1 half dozen the other at the end of the day?
If I was leading, I was hoping for as many safety cars as possible. I knew the guys behind me had more pace, so if I could get a yellow and solidify my position in front of them, I was happy with it.
Well, yeah, we just also heard from Brendan sort of talking about how he felt about the car and how it drives here on the dirt. What's your take on these dirt mini stocks here when it comes to the best way to drive them around a track like this?
From my limited experience, I would just say put the foot down, turn it in, and then catch the slide is all I know.
Well, worked out pretty well for you there, especially in race 2, but certainly nothing wrong to be looking at there with your race 1 results as well. Fingers crossed. Or what are you thinking when it comes to the asphalt coming up next?
Probably about the same thing, just keep it clean, keep my nose out of it, and hopefully get across the line in a good position.
Well, maybe if we're lucky, we'll have a chance to chat to you after that race. Thanks for chatting us here tonight, and well done on the dirt.
Thank you.
And that'll leave us with just one final driver to talk to here, David. And no surprises, it'll be your winner from race number 1, Mr. Ben Roberts, who I believe, yep, he's still there. I'll grab him, and he's all yours to have a chat to here, David.
Well, congrats on that race 2 win. It was pretty messy overall across both of the races, but when you got a bit of clean running in that second race, you looked really pacey.
Yeah, that was the thing, at least, getting enough time to either be leading or be in the inside for a restart was always going to be the key. If you're on the outside, you're going to be a little bit screwed. So yeah, it was nice to get a win out of that, but honestly, kind of glad that's done now, and we can move on to the IndyCar race.
So you're not going to miss looking at the back of the iRacing pace truck?
Not at all.
And we asked some of the other drivers, but again, a new-ish car. What was the overall driving characteristic of it?
It's a lot of fun. I do like to drive it. A bit on throttle, understeer if you don't have enough angle in the car, but yeah, good fun to drive. Good car to learn dirt racing with, and it's no matter what car you're in, sort of any race can be pretty fun.
And looked like sort of down low up against the tractor tyres was where everyone wanted to be mostly in the racing. If we'd had a bit more racing, a bit more track carryover, would you like to have seen a more high side, bit more cushion?
Yeah, I think we definitely would have seen that if we kept carrying over the track usage. Would have been a few different lines to take, and may not have been so much fighting over the same piece of dirt.
Yeah, because in one case, everyone wants to be down low on the shortest line. On a really, really worn-in track, everyone's trying to rip the cushion, but when you're somewhere in between, you can look at where your opponent's going and think, actually, maybe I can find some speed the other side.
Yeah, exactly. But no, even without that, it was still a little bit of fun.
Well, congrats, and we'll catch you on the pavement for the next race in Category King.
Thank you very much.
And we can also begin to move across to the next event on the pavement for Category King. David Haynes here with Daniel Yamin. We'll take a super quick break here on SimSpeed TV, and when we come back, we're racing oval still, but on the pavement at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day, race against the clock at a hill climb, or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Well, we're back with you with one more event to run tonight in Motorsport Australia and ANZ E-Series Category King. This is the second night of competition. In night 1 a couple of weeks ago, we had Formula 4 and GT4 to give us the open wheeler and sports car component. We've just had the dirt ovals, and now we're going to go pavement oval racing at one of the most famous racetracks anywhere in the world, one of the longest running permanent sporting venues of any kind anywhere in the world. It's Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Brickyard, and its famous Yard of Bricks. David Haynes here with Daniel Gaiman on SimSpeed TV to bring you coverage of Category King. Well, there's so many things to be said about IMS.
That there are indeed, and as you said, one of them is, such a long storied history that this place is able to claim. And rightfully so indeed. I'm a bit of a recent convert to appreciation of these Indy cars and the IndyCar series, but nevertheless, they do some great racing. And the fact that this is a car, well, at its core doesn't change. Yes, still the aero changes, and things like exact power settings will change depending on exactly where they're racing. But the fact of the matter is that it does bring some of the most diverse and competitive racing all wrapped up together in an excellent little package.
From on high, it's the biggest bathtub you've ever seen. Lots of different configurations here. So the classic Speedway oval, but then also some configurations for motorbike racing, sports car racing, even a little mini dirt oval in there. And hey, how about swinging a golf club or two? I've got some buddies who've done that course. And apparently good fun. Actually a pretty damn good course, all things considered. But the one that we've got to worry about is 2.5 miles long. It's 4 corners. They're only moderately banked, but they're very wide open. They're very high speed. And the IndyCar IR18 from Dallara, well, it's well equipped to carry immense amount of speeds around this place. You always talk about it in miles an hour, and it sounds impressive, but when you think about it in kilometers an hour, they can oh so easily take 330 kilometers an hour through the corners, up to 350, 360, and more down the straights. Just insane closed course speeds at this place. You've got to respect it.
Yeah, expect even 370 plus. On the run into turns 1 and 3 with slipstream and engine maps too. That'll be something to keep in mind, because as you note here with the race information for our asphalt oval component of the Category King, David, 30 minutes will be on the clock. A reminder that when we were checking at the session information during the dirt oval stuff, no full course yellows this time for the oval. This asphalt oval race will be one to watch. But critically, also a very limited fuel tank. They will probably only get about... I've done a race where you get 17 or so laps out of a 50% tank. 30% tank, we're probably looking at 12, 13 maybe laps. So there will be plenty of stops to do here in these Indy cars, given that they whip around here at about 40 seconds a lap.
Yeah, so I was just looking at those numbers and thinking, isn't 30 laps about a normal full tank? Okay, obviously you can do just a tiny bit more. We're doing lap times underneath a minute, so we're going to get more than 30 laps. I don't see a way that this doesn't become a 2-stop race. So that's something to look out for. It's very much like NASCAR at Daytona. Anytime you're at a massive super speedway like this, you don't want to be alone. You want a drafting buddy. You want someone who's cutting through the air for you, helping you save fuel, giving you more speed down the straights. You can do more speed together than you can alone at these super speedways. So that's what we're going to be looking to see what they do. Do you ever go to try to pit alone without a buddy? That could be catastrophic to your chances of not only winning, but getting on the podium here.
Yeah,
we're in practice at the moment, a couple of minutes away from getting into qualifying.
Yeah, that we are indeed. Just sort of looking to count down the clock here as well. Also, a chance for me to maybe quickly go make sure everything is set and ready for us here at the speedway. So, watching as the drivers here get their last couple of runs in here in practice. And in fact, we should be able to bring it up here on screen for you now, folks, as they whip around this fantastic bit of racetrack.
And it's hot too. Look at the sun beating down on the racetrack. Sure, it's only 24 degrees Celsius in the air, but it's nearly 50 degrees Celsius on the racetrack. Drivers are going to be pitting when they pit because of their small fuel tanks. And that's Zach Rattray White making sure he can know where the limits are in turn 4. But also, this could be, in traffic, a relatively tire-eating conditions with the weather as well.
Yeah, that'll be one to watch out for, moments like that, because, yeah, in traffic especially, you won't be able to go flat through the corners. You have to get out from behind cars in front of you in that case if you want to keep the speed up. Otherwise, it's roll it into the turns, save some fuel while you're at it as a result, and, yeah, make the best of it what you can. Because fuel saving here in this one is going to be critical thanks to the restrictions in force.
So it means nothing yet, except to just give us an idea. Zach Rattray White is at the top of the times in this practice, ahead of Justin Talent. Hey, Ben Roberts will go all the way to the top now. I think he's picked up a pretty good toe on this lap, if I'm honest with you. And that's oh so important. Yeah, then Justin Talent, and then Requestra, Callum Newton, Sam Chapman. We're seeing the drivers get in here, get accustomed to the open wheeler racing. That is a pretty competent time from Roberts right there.
Yeah, certainly.
Is this one of those practice sessions where you can choose your boost level?
They are running fixed setups. It's entirely possible he switched to the qualifying setup, yes.
Typically there's 2 engine maps for IndyCar racing around here. Qualifying and racing, and the difference is about 50 horsepower, or it could be even a little bit more. So sometimes practice session times can be misleading if different drivers are on the different engine maps, different qualifying modes. Far away from this practice wrapping up. Qualifying will be, I think, pretty important if we're going to have no cautions. I'll be honest, you don't want 2 or 3 drivers getting away, because if they end up 5 seconds up the road from you, it'll be very tough to reel that back in.
It sure will indeed. So staying with any friends you can make along the way will be most important of it all. And having had a chance to run a shortened race Indy myself with a fuel restriction, just far and away the most important thing that'll be on their minds today. And with no cautions, there's no saving you if you make a mistake. As checkered flag will fly here in practice, it's time to get ready for qualifying to get underway here in just a moment.
So time is now for qualifying, with an outlap and 2 flying laps, taking you about 120 seconds. That's 2 minutes. You don't need to be in a hurry to get back out on track, but I don't think the weather, you're not going to pray for a late cloud that puts you on pole. Again, it's still very hot at 48 Celsius in this qualifying session. I see Rui Koistra rolling. I see most of the drivers rolling. Holding it near the rev limiter in 5th gear. It's Benjamin Roberts. He was quickest in practice. He's about to come around to start his first of 2 laps. That second lap feels like it'll probably be the quicker one, but the first one could be important. Jamie Christensen's not out there yet. Caleb Hyde's not out there yet. Just Benjamin Roberts. Those speeds past 360 kilometers an hour as he uses 5th and 6th gear. All of the qualifying boost in effect. 366, 367, nearly the rev limiter. In the top gear, nearly 12,000 RPM. Sam Chapman's gone in the wall. Benjamin Roberts, this lap from him so far though is looking tidy, and that's important for him. Callum Newton looks like he's also got some troubles, so I don't think they're so easily on qualifying boost, holding it flat through the corners with these very hot track temperatures. And the first times are soon going to come in. Benjamin Roberts is the first one we see at a 39.7. Rui Koistra goes in with a 39.9.
I thought I'd just finish the lap here on board with Roberts and show how it's done here. Just also making a couple of little minor tweaks for our viewing pleasure and utility here in this one. So we've got a couple of onboard angles we can work with on these Dallara IR18 Indy cars. We've also got this one here right down at the nose of these machines as they whip around the circuit. At turn 4, you see Roberts. No, he's actually going to bail out after one flying lap into the pits for the number 74, but he's still on top by over 0.2 of a second. Did Koistra have anything in response to the line? Comes Rue. Does improve. Gets almost there, but not quite.
Yeah, now just 0.1 of a second short. Justin Talent is going to put a time to the board as well. The fastest at the minute. Zachary White's got the purple first sector on his flying lap. He's got no legal time yet, but he's one of the fastest cars at the moment. David Atkinson is going to look to get a time. Here comes Brendan Crawford. Zach Rattray White, that time sticks. He goes to the top. 39.739, 17 thousandths of a second. Quicker than Benjamin Roberts in qualifying at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Also, welcome back, Caleb Hyde's missed out there on the dirt, but will have a crack here on the asphalt as he rips into turn 3 here at full speed. You can see they're up against the wall. Not a lot of space left for him, but I didn't hear much of a lift. And I think there's some confidence here. He has done some Indy racing this year, although he is busy, of course, as I said, with the Simagic FIA F4 World Championship at the moment. Will slot P3 on his second flying lap in qualifying.
Interestingly, he was fastest through turns 1 and 2, but lost a little bit of time on the back straight and through turns 3 and 4. Oh, so close, but he ends up just short of that pole position that Zach Rattray White's still holding on to. The margin between the top 3 is tiny, and the rest of the field are completing their laps right now. Jamie Christensen, no valid time until... yeah, no, he must have touched the wall in the first sector on that previous lap. So this one's got to be clean for Christensen.
Yeah, as he brings it up to speed. What's he got for us? Down the back straight away.
He's got a very quick sector 1 and 2 on this lap.
Oh, was it a little wiggle through turn 3? I think it might have been. And it definitely sounds a little slow through turn 4 as a result. Will still commit, of course, to the checkered flag. End of his second lap. It's a 39.8. Actually throws it straight in the fence. But it does count. It'll set him back in 7th, though.
These times are so quick. A spin out of turn 4 and a big hit from Sam Chapman. He'll have no qualifying time because of that. So Chapman will start either 11th or 12th. Byron Phillips is the only other driver left out on track. Time's about to run out for him. I don't think this lap even will count for him.
He crossed the line. Did it get in? No, it did not.
Just millimeters short, maybe just 1 yard short of those bricks at the start-finish line. The grid be locked in for this 30-minute race. Category King on the paved oval, the most famous of them all, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, for a mini Indy 500. This is the front row, and take a look at the margins on the first few rows. Zach Rattray White will start on the front row on the inside. Benjamin Roberts will start alongside him, 17 thousandths of a second slower in qualifying. Row 2 has Caleb Hydes and Rue Koistra again. Caleb Hydes, 3 thousandths of a second from being on the front row. Is Callum Newton and Brendan Crawford on 5th and 6th places, the third row of the grid. Jamie Christensen and Justin Talent are 7th and 8th on row 4 of the grid. David Atkinson and Dejan Feldman will be the last drivers with qualifying times in 9th and 10th. Byron Phillips and Sam Chapman have no qualifying times. Byron Phillips because he saved the run till late. Sam Chapman because he crashed out of turn 4.
All right, last couple of instructions coming through from the race control team, and then we will go racing here from the speedway for this race, and 30 minutes will be on the clock. I think I'm hearing a little bit in the background here, David. There may be cautions at the discretion of the admin team rather than allow, or simply just going with what iRacing throws out for them tonight. So keep that in mind here in this race that we make, because I heard stuff about no wave rounds being issued manually. So that would suggest you wouldn't have wave rounds if you're not going to have caution. Well, sorry, you wouldn't mention that if there weren't going to be cautions at all, I should say.
Yeah, and with the formation lap about to begin, the 30 minutes of racing begin when the green flag waves at the end of the formation lap at the moment. My predictor says that would be 44 laps if there was no more reappearance of a safety car. But I saw with these hot track temperatures, it looked tough going in qualifying, honestly. We saw more crashes than I would have expected from solo qualifying. Pacing away on the formation lap again, that front row is Zach Rattray White, Benjamin Roberts. They were the front row of qualifying on dirt as well, but the margins are even closer at the super speedway of Indianapolis Motor Speedway since 1911.
Pardon me here whilst I'm just getting a few things ready to get racing here for this one. We'll wait to see who can come out on top from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And I'm just really curious to see how exactly drivers choose to play with strategy here for this one. Because, yeah, as we're mentioning, very tight.
I think.
Yeah, 2 stops at minimum with the fuel tank restriction. That's I 100% agree with your call there on that one tonight, David. And so it's just a matter of seeing who's going to get the jumpers. It's a little disorganized getting to the green, but it will be in the hands of Zach Rattray White once that iRacing pace car pulls into the pit lane here off of turn number 4.
Yeah, Zach Rattray White inside of the front row, the pole sitter, leaving a little bit of space to the pace car, not holding a particularly consistent speed through turns 3 and 4, but as the pace car pulls away now, he's holding a consistent speed. Barney's holding a consistent green flag in the air, but he's not waving it yet. He waves it now when we go green flag racing at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for Category King. Zach Rattray White doing really well with that pole position, but once we get up to speed, this is Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The tow is going to be massive, and look how quickly Caleb Hydes is up into second and all over Zach Rattray White. Plenty of 2 wide racing through turns number 2 onto the back straight. Caleb Hydes is looking for the race lead early. Zach Rattray White, good jump from the pole, but now he's already back in the second place. Look how powerful that toe was. Caleb Hydes onto the racing line already before they go into turns 3 and 4. Bit more side-by-side battling in the positions behind. This is looking like a big toe, big slipstreaming hack racing battle.
Oh, you bet it is here. We'll go on board with your new race leader, Caleb Hydes, as he makes the run towards turn 1. He's got a massive charge coming from Rue Koistra, who will dive up the inside of Rattray White and take that place away from second. Oh, spin in the background for Christensen. He goes off in the chute between turns 1 and 2, but we stay green. And we'll see here. Oh, Hyde's going all the way down. Caution has been thrown, though, by race control for that one there for Christensen. So we will arrest the field, unfortunately, after just one racing lap around the Brickyard. Now, David, do you... Now, it's really early.
On back of the pack, I'm topping off my fuel tank.
I was just about to ask this one, indeed.
From Caleb Hyde, I'm not so sure.
Also, what's he doing? Because you can't come into the pits yet on lap 1.
I ask that frequently. What is Caleb Hyde doing?
And lo and behold, someone comes into a closed pit lane, and it's Byron Phillips. So that will see him issued an end-of-line penalty. Because you can't come in under an iRacing caution on the very first lap of it. It quite clearly says on your screens, pit entry closed. So that's going to be a bit of a naughty procedural slap on the wrist from the sim, but he does top off the car, and I think based on 8 seconds, he probably also took a fresh set of tyres to boot.
Exits pit lane. I don't see anything on my side. Pace cars up there, fields here. Decent race starts, though, from Caleb Hyde and Rue Koistra, both of them making 2 positions. You see that on your screen from the positions gained there. Koistra placing the car really well to pick up that toe and run into second place.
Alright, pits are open this time by David. Is this a fake from Hydes? No, he's going to commit. And he will not be the only one. In fact, I reckon about half the field here is going to take the option. That's actually, no, more than half the field. And it's going to be a total of 7 out of our 12. Actually, it's barely more than half, I guess. But the point exists, I guess.
That's a good number of them. So Rue Koistra stays out, goes to the lead of the race. Callum Newton stays out. Brendan Crawford stays out. David Atkinson and Diane Feldman stay out. On the lane, I see most of them just topping off that fuel just to brim the restricted tank. So through the pit lane, Zach Rattray White has jumped Caleb Hydes.
Absolutely smoked Caleb when it comes to the pit transit. Now, interestingly, you look here at the numbers, it says the pit box time was about the same, but you can see the pit lane time was where it was at. That didn't quite seem right, unless... Might just go have a quick little look at Caleb's stop here if we can.
With no lap down cars, we probably are coming to green.
Yeah, true. Let's just jump up to the front to have a look. No, lights are still on. We've got one more lap here, so we can... It's a good point. It's a good point. We probably don't want to mess... it might have, but they haven't taken the start, so I think we'll be okay. So, jump aboard the 92 of Caleb Hydes. Here as he came into the pit. I just want to see a bit of fun and games with the gearbox as well, for good measure.
Now, as third on the grid, he'll have pit stall number 3, so third from pit exit. He's got an unobstructed view of where his crew is at. Looking for the number 92 there. Okay.
There it is.
Oh, it is an overshoot as he finds reverse gear. No such dramas for Zach Rattray White.
And there you have it. All right. So that explains a fair bit. Because, yeah, I was saying, didn't look like he went up on the jacks, as Christensen and Phillips will splash a bit more fuel again in their cars. And as a result of all the cautions, we're on lap 5, yet over 5 minutes of this race have been consumed. And this is exactly what those drivers are going to want. There will be Koistra to the inside who will take the lead at the green. He's just sitting back off the iRacing pace car, so you'll have to ignore that it says he's in second, as Callum Newton will need to fall back in line, or he will be penalised for starting in front of the race leader on the restart.
So what you've got is 5 cars up front that didn't pit with the caution. The rest of them did, and based on how close and touch and go we think the fuel numbers will be, there could very well be an advantage for those that topped off their fuel just there. Zach Rattray-White is the best placed of those, and Caleb Hydes, Benjamin Roberts and Sam Chapman, drivers making a strategy call early to just whack a little bit more fuel in, open up their window, maybe not need to save in the back half depending on how we go. Pace car should be about to pull in. The green flag should be about to wave at the start-finish line. Root Koistra is going here to take us racing once again, and Brendan Crawford, he's got to be careful because he's got a really good run there. The leader had already gone. We're heading down towards turn 1. Crawford into second. Koistra still leading. Side by side with Zach Rattray-White. He's looking down the inside here, trying to be feisty on this restart.
And he's going to clear David Atkinson there to get up to 4th place, and Callum Newton is his next target. As with the slipstream down towards turn 3, but does Newton's extra bit of draft there in the train allow him to stay ahead? It does. Does he wash up the hill though? No. Rattray-White though in turn. Can't keep close. No, a bit of a tag. Although, can Newton hold on to it through the corner? Yes, he stays out of the wall, but it's a very damaged run now down the start-finish straight. To the back of the train, he should almost certainly go.
They're all steaming past him as Brendan Crawford sets the new fastest lap of the race because it's a green lap of the race. Root Koistra is leading. Crawford got all the way up underneath the rear wing of Root Koistra and just sat there. So these drivers that didn't take extra fuel, Crawford could be trying to make some savings here, make sure he can definitely do this on his desired number of stops. The drivers who didn't take extra fuel, Zach Rattray-White and Caleb Hyde, they're up into 3rd and 4th already, just at the tail of this. So they're soon to pull into this double toe and close in on your race leader, Root Koistra, who we watched backwards from, with another lap completed.
Some moves through the field. Benjamin Roberts on Atkinson, Jamie Christensen on Justin Talent. As just there as I look back to the screen, and Crawford right on the gearbox into turn 1, but has to roll back out of it to not wash it up the hill through the corner, and that will give Rattray-White a bit more of an edge on the run towards turn. Let's see here with Crawford. What's he doing into turn number 3? Well, hearing a ton of saving there, David, for now.
Into turn 1 last time he definitely did, and into turn 3 a couple of laps ago. On the restart lap he definitely did. See there, he gets a great run off turn 4. We look at Root Koistra and we look to pull out and take the race lead. A couple of laps of patience. Now Brendan Crawford will lead at the Brickyard, slotting in front of Root Koistra. He runs up a little bit wide in turn 1. Didn't surrender that position when typically you would if you were behind and on the outside heading in a 1. They seem to have a fair whack of grip. Zach Rattray-White and Caleb Hydes, with the toe behind, are closing in and massively 3 wide to the inside. Zach Rattray-White will take the race lead. Caleb Hydes has the fastest lap of the race. And it's a 4-5 horse race out front at the moment. But this looks good for Rattray-White, leading the race and with a strategy advantage, more fuel in having stopped under caution.
Yeah, that's all. We lose Caleb Hydes for a moment there in the background of shot. Koistra back to the race lead though. But I think by the looks of that there, Rattray-White definitely eased that car in to turn number 1. Let's jump on board with the 17 here, see how he drives it, because yes, he's got a fuel advantage, but if he can save some more fuel by not going hammer and tongs and not really lose much position or time, that will certainly enable him to be within range potentially. That's the question, is can he make it on one more stop? Because we're saying it's a 2-stop race. Had they burned enough fuel before they came in, and had they saved enough fuel under the caution to be able to make it with just one green flag stop remaining, as Koistra is coming down and into the lane here. That is very early from what I was thinking. Just 10 laps of running. But maybe that's what we've got here in terms of fuel range, even with the caution.
Well, you'd hopefully be able to stay on the lead lap pitting from there. Callum Newton and Diane Feldman also come in. So I think that's the strategy, is if you were up front, you'll still stay on the lead lap pitting right about now. Zach Rattray-White and Caleb Hydes filter to the front. They last stopped 7 laps ago. So if 10 laps is the range on the fuel, it could be a tiny bit more than that, maybe, especially with the safety cars. But yeah, they can't be more than 4 or 5 laps away from maybe needing to pit again themselves. Crawford's definitely been in a fuel-saving position, so it's gone 1 lap longer than some of the others. Now comes in, and followed by Benjamin Roberts as well for Roberts' second stop.
Okay. Now, don't forget, the other thing here is that in racing conditions, we can't see it as a spectator, but these drivers have, it's a total of 8 fuel maps. Now, the 8th map is for running under safety car, and it's very useless. Well, you'd be a dead stick in a racing situation if you did it here. But realistically, 5 fuel maps. You've got a choice as Caleb Hyde's trying to get underneath Callum Newton here as lap traffic coming back out of the pits. Nearly got a little hairy through turn 3. But okay, once again, as they run down towards turns 1 and 2.
So everyone's been through pit lane at least once at this point now. They are very thirsty, wide open throttle on the speedway, and we do have a restricted fuel tank that will make this a multi-stop race. Rattray-White and Hydes continue on, putting a couple of cars that have stopped now and lap down. That's tough for Caleb Hydes because he has to go around the outside of 3 to try to stay in the tow of race leader Zach Rattray-White. Christensen, look at him up in 3rd at the moment. He's coming towards him as Zach Rattray-White pits. Christensen pits. Caleb Hydes will stay out for one more. Oh no, tell me they weren't speeding on the way in. Christensen has a black flag.
Ah, geez, he was pushing up to the back of them there, and unfortunately, that's not gone well at all for him.
Zach Rattray-White's a lucky boy as well because he was all tyres locked up approaching the start of the pit lane speed limit. Now Christensen's all tyres locked up going into his pit box. No dramas finding his for Zach Rattray-White. I think I'm still seeing no tyre change. So I don't think a tyre change gets covered in the 30% fuel. So they're just not taking it.
Not even close, David. 30% fuel in an IndyCar is something in the order of about 21 litres. You need to take about 50 litres to cover a set of tyres. And obviously that's not possible with the fuel tank restriction as is.
So there's Rue Koistra at speed behind Zach Rattray-White. As Rattray-White comes back on a racetrack, gets up to speed. Caleb Hydes pits, Byron Phillips pits, Sam Chapman pits.
Now,
in a 30-minute race, and people are pitting just before the halfway point, there is no way this isn't basically a 3-stop race for everyone.
Yeah, that basically seals the deal. And look how much time Rattray-White's going to gain as Koistra finds the safer barrier on the exit of turn 1. Hurts his run a little bit there. But look how much time has been gained by Zach Rattray-White by going 1 lap shorter than Caleb Hydes, who was out by his lonesome.
I think Hydes took tyres. I reckon Hydes took tyres.
Good point. Let's go check that.
If we get a late restart, Caleb Hydes could be placed well, but what it has gone and done is cost him an extra 4 or 5 seconds in the pit stop, and it's put him back away from this leading group. Zach Rattray-White. Benjamin Roberts goes through in a second. He has the fastest lap of the race. Caleb Hydes has a big wreck out of turn 4.
Now, are they going to throw the caution for this one here? He's off the racing line, but we saw the caution for Christensen. Oh,
in entry. There is
there it
a
is.
Caution. We'll look at Caleb Hydes, who was running in 4th place. He might have had a better strategy. He might have taken new tyres. That thing is going straight in the skip after that accident that he's had. A big one at massive speed. We'll go back and find it. Off at turn 4, is he up in some lap traffic? Is that Newton?
I think it is. And it's just ploughed. And then unfortunately, yeah, rebounded hard across the racetrack. Yeah, that's definitely Callum Newton in front of us here on board with him now. You just see just caught up in the wash is Caleb Hydes, and he's unable to get the car through the turn the way he wanted.
Yeah, Pinball, outside wall, inside wall, gigantic damage. So flashing lights are on the iRacing pace car once again. We saw it at the race start. We saw it for the first caution. We're seeing caution number 2 on the speedway. Zach Rattray-White just 3 laps into a stint. Ben Roberts in second place, 5 laps into a stint. Rue Questra has been super economical. He has only made 1 stop and is almost 7 laps into the stint now. But I don't think with the timing of this caution, anyone tops off and gets to the end. I don't think anyone makes it to the end having stopped underneath this caution.
Well, let's turn that off there, and let's see. You have to come in, surely, because you'd be touch and go. There's a couple of cars there that are going to stay out and get a lap back, but that means they won't get time to stop and stay in the queue. But yeah, there we go. All the lead lap cars. Yes, the top 7, plus Brendan Crawford's not stayed out to get his lap back. Diane Feldman.
I take this to take tyres, because if we'd gone green the whole time, you're never going to get a good chance to whack a new set of tyres on. Like you say, the fuel fills too quickly. You'd lose time, lose the draft by putting new tyres on. But there they go. Most of them popping up on the jacks. Not Questra, but that's Roberts and Zach Rattray-White are like, okay, well, I'll lose 1 or 2 pieces of track position here, but I'll get new tyres on for the back half of this race. We're going to restart, and I might have a little bit more grip. So, yeah, so 5-second stop for Questra, no tyres. Anything longer than an 8-second stop, I'm thinking that's a 4-tyre change.
Yeah, 100%. We're seeing 4 seconds for fuel, 8 seconds for tyres. So now the question is, how much longer will the cautions be? And I think also what's happened here is I had some drivers that are asking about wave rounds. I think what's happened is because we've had Diane Feldman here stay out in the 84. It's thrown them all for a loop, and it's trapped a couple of cars that would otherwise have been on the lead lap, or sort of get a wave around just naturally by being in front of the leader, get stuck behind the leader. I just think for Feldman, unless these cars here behind them can't make it, which I think they can if they make sure to save fuel, as no Feldman's actually going to peel into the pits 1 lap later. Critically, it is a whole bunch of time later in the race, though, as we have a few others. Rattray-White feigns. So did Roberts.
Callum Newton there is in position to automatically get waved around now. There's a few other drivers that are asking for it. So Justin Talent and Brendan Crawford might want it. So there's automatically, because you're not the race leader and you're the first car behind the safety car, through you go, Newton will end up on the lead lap. Rue Questra is the race leader directly behind the pace car. Then Zach Rattray-White on those new tyres. Benjamin Roberts on new tyres. Sam Chapman, old tyres. David Atkinson, new tyres.
Let's bring it up here. So any pit stop times in and around the 9-second range, that is a stop with tyres, as you should be able to see there on the towel. Let's just make those numbers a tiny bit bigger. And hopefully readable. Let's maybe a bit
Feldman and Christensen with black flags. So they're going to be held in their pit stall, I think.
Sure will. That's unfortunately a critical error there to make, because that'll see them stuck, and looks like they're forming up for a double file restart here as well.
Yep, every restart's been double filed to this point. Lights are off the pace car, so it's time to go green at the end of this lap. That long hold in pit lane for Feldman and Christensen will actually make it difficult for them to get around and catch the back of the pack before we go green flag racing. A normal stop, you'd have no worries, but with that long hold, that's going to be tough. Callum Newton has got his lap back and will rejoin the tail of the field. Pace car about to pull in, 10 minutes left. Maybe some of them can make it to the end from here if we run green all the way. Rue Questra is the race leader on the inside. Zach Rattray-White on the front row on the outside. Good restart from Benjamin Roberts as well, who was just coming into his form before that caution flew. And that's our top 3 at the moment. And Sam Chapman and David Atkinson heading into turn 1, getting up to speed for the first time. Zach Rattray-White is all over Rue Questra, and now could be the time to pounce.
Yeah, or the thing is though, David, do you just sit back, save as much fuel as you can, and then make sure you are clean to run a little harder right at the end of this race. Because don't forget
Roberts is saving.
time
Big
certainty as
saving.
well.
And
These
Roberts in
drivers.
third position. He's using the double toe to save as much fuel as he possibly can. So maybe he fancies to run all the way. All of the top 5 drivers stopped on the same lap. Byron Phillips stopped 1 lap later. He's got subtly more fuel on board as well. Riding on board with third place. Rue Koistra still leads. Zach Rattray White maybe less keen to try to pass as well. Longest green flag running I think we've seen is 10 laps. And at this speed, we will get 13 more. If it stays green, we will get 1 more pit stop out of all of these drivers for sure.
And yeah, now on this second flying lap of this stint, I'm not hearing any saving there from the 74 of Ben Roberts. So I think they've consigned themselves indeed to running this race hard as they can. Pit stops will have to be a fact of the matter. Because yeah, it's a good point. We only saw 10, 11 lap stints at max in a green flag run for these drivers. And indeed, 10 minutes, 40 seconds, that will end up more than 10 laps.
And you won't have time under a green flag stop to change tyres, so maybe conserving them now, more than conserving the fuel, is the way to go. So that's Roberts there in third. Zach Rattray White had the pace maybe to go to the race lead, still sitting in second for the moment off of this restart. Koistra's been doing a little bit of the snake on the front straight, on the back straight, and those who want the slipstream have simply got to follow him. Heading to the pit lane, Callum Newton. So he could be in range to get to the end from here. He's banking on an early stop to maybe... is there a benefit to be had from making the stop before a caution maybe flies?
Problem is if you stop before the
Necessity
caution...
Anyway, he stayed out under the last caution to get the lap back. Now he has to pit because he didn't pit under the caution because he didn't pit to get his lap back. So it's not really a big 300 IQ strategy play from Callum Newton, but maybe I was thinking. You've got your top 3, that little bit of space. Sam Chapman in 4th. He has the older tyres. So Byron Phillips has been monstering him a little bit, and Chapman's struggling to go with the top 3 at the moment. He'll still have the toe, but he's just a couple car lengths further back, and looking like he's washing a little high through some of the corners.
Yeah, don't forget, the car in behind him is Brendan Crawford, who got trapped a lap down by pitting with the leaders under that caution as well, David. Byron Phillips is the Red Bull car, 8 tenths, nearly 9 tenths back here on the run to turn 3, who's actually being a bit more pressured by more lap traffic in the form of Justin Talon. So this back half of our pack is actually lead lap car off the lead lap car, lapped car, lead lap car again, as it is on for the race lead here into 1, but Koistra defends the inside.
Rattray White was definitely sniffing around, but when he felt he couldn't get to the inside, he didn't really try to force the issue. So maybe feeling like just letting Koistra lead for the moment. Rattray White took those new tyres under caution and might think if I can have a very quick fuel-only final stop to the end here, could get it by the pit stop, quick green flag stop. Zach Rattray White's really well positioned if that's the way the remaining laps of this race go. Koistra is really enjoying leading this one at the moment though.
Yeah, if I understand the refueling mechanics right, you refuel in half-gallon increments. So to be able to save fuel at the stop in terms of how much you need to put in does take a bit. But for Rattray White and Roberts, they're in a position where they should be able to save some fuel, and that might give them the potential, I should say, to undercut Rue Koistra here in the stop when it comes to the fuel required to make it home.
10-lap fuel runs is mainly what we've been seeing, and we're coming to the end of 9 for our leaders. Rue Koistra's in. Zach Rattray White thinks about it. Looks like Benjamin Roberts is going to follow Koistra into the pit lane at speed.
And he's done. He got it wrong.
For speeding in pit lane for Benjamin Roberts. He was positioned to maybe take second place. Now he's going to have to serve a massive pit lane penalty. Zach Rattray White leads this race all on his own. Byron Phillips stays out. David Atkinson stays out. But Roberts at the final hurdle has had a pretty big stumble.
And there you go. I have to see here, are there people that Koistra can come out with? He goes fuel only again. So 1 set of tyres, I believe. Now he's going to get the power down. It sounds a little slow. And he's very conservative on the pit exit. That's going to hurt because you can push a little harder through there unless the tyres are for him that short on grip. Byron Phillips has gone through to the race lead.
For one final pit stop, Zach Rattray-White is in. Byron Phillips is going to run just a little bit longer. Remember, he was back sort of 5th or 6th in that train off the restart, really well positioned to try to save a lot of fuel. But he's going to have to make one final stop as well. Rattray-White goes just a quick splash of fuel only at 4.8 seconds, and now he's negotiating pit exit. He likes to use all of the pavement. Look at this. Yeah, so he's not conservative on pit exit at all. He's done that before and gotten away with it. So he's looking to get up to speed quickly on this outlap. Byron Phillips pits in. Brendan Crawford pits in. Everyone is going to be fueled to get to the end.
Right, the question is, though, can Phillips, going this one lap longer,
Crawford has a black flag for speeding on pit entry.
Another driver is going to... Well, for Brendan, he's unfortunately already a lap down. Short, sharp stop for Phillips. That's a tiny bit shorter than what Rattray-White did. Here comes the 17 machine down the start-finish stretch across the line. Phillips is out of the pit limiter, but of course he's well below speed. So watch Rattray-White here to whip past the 69er. Phillips, there he is down on the pit lane chute. But if Phillips can get some speed here through turn 2, he might be able to latch on, but it's going to be a big ask with that speed difference as he rejoins the track.
Well, with 3 minutes, 6 laps left, Byron Phillips rejoins in 2nd position. Rue Koistra is 3rd. He's just a little bit further back, and we worry his tyre's not quite as great. He's trying to work through a little bit of lap traffic here. Also battling Sam Chapman for the final step on the podium at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Not able to get through yet. It hasn't worked out how Chapman would want, I think.
Chapman's in the golf colours, yep.
Yeah. Chapman gets through. Koistra holds on to 3rd, but they're 3 seconds behind the race leaders. And around this super speedway at Indianapolis, at the Brickyard, that is an immense distance.
Oh!
Callum Newton goes into the wall, but keeps going. I imagine this stays green. Zach Rattray-White leads. He's going to have 3 to go. Newton will be able to get that to pit lane, even if it's not comfortable.
Phillips is closing. Phillips is able to latch onto the draft of Zach Rattray-White, so he just got into it there as cars peeling to Koistra to the pit lane.
What on earth for Rue Koistra? Koistra last pitted 4 laps ago. Did they miss Phil? There's only 2 minutes left. Koistra will drop out of the podium position. Sam Chapman takes 3rd. This is the battle for the race lead. David Atkinson goes through into 7th. Byron Phillips looks out on the inside in turn 3. He tries to get his nose to the inside to take the race lead away. It'll be 2 laps to go when they cross the yard of bricks this time around, I imagine. But the time is super, super close. We're doing 40-second lap times. We might get 3 more here, you know. Zach Rattray-White's doing the weave. He goes low, he goes high. He leaves the inside open into turn number 1. Byron Phillips will look to take the race lead, but holding it too wide around the outside. Zach Rattray-White is not going to give the race lead up easy as turn 2, he cuts down across the nose, takes the race lead back. Will we get the white flag at the end of this lap, or is there one more lap of Indianapolis Motor Speedway to decide it? It's either 2 to go, or we're about to go to the white flag. Byron Phillips, again, trying to look to the inside and take the race lead away. It's going to be all about timing in the final minute.
I say 2 laps, David. We're coming out of turn 4, 50 seconds on the clock. It is awfully close, but I reckon Barney's going to hang on to that white flag, and he'll wave it next time by, indeed. We are 2 to go. Rattray-White to the inside at turn 1. He'll regain the race lead, but neither of these drivers have got much left to lose, it seems. They're going to throw absolutely everything at it here around the Brickyard with just 5 miles left and already closing that down fast.
The track is baking hot, and the action is even hotter as neither of them want to cede the lead. They're playing hot potato with 1st position at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Byron Phillips this time will look around the outside, crowd Zach Rattray-White a little bit down against the apron at turn 3. Through turn 4, coming towards the white flag, they'll be absolutely neck and neck level, and there'll be 2.5 miles more of Indianapolis Motor Speedway to decide the category king for oval pavement going to the final lap. There's nothing in them with Phillips on the outside. Zach Rattray White with the inside of turn 1, the inside to turn 2. He'll lead onto the back straight, but there's no way Byron Phillips gives up on this one. He's looking for the toe down the back straight. He's looking to get his nose to the inside. He's 2 tyres in the grass, passing for the lead on the final lap. To turn 3, Byron Phillips has the inside. Zach Rattray White looking to go over under, swap back into the final corner on the speedway. Nothing between them. Byron Phillips leads off of turn 4, but it's a long run to the yard of bricks, to the checkered flag. Rattray White's looking for a toe, looking to pull out a line late, but they make contact. And Zach Rattray White wins at the speedway.
Oh my word, just as we thought that maybe, I thought for a second Phillips might have just done enough. They're too defensive through the chute to turns 3 and 4, and it gives, and he's already out of the session, Rattray White a chance. He does trip over for a moment there on the rear of Phillips. My word.
Phillips had it, and he threw a late block. They made contact, and Rattray White went through it to the line. Here's the replay of the win. So he's covered him off. He forces Rattray White to lift a little bit, and then, what? Does he run out of fuel? Did Phillips run out of fuel and throw a block?
Yes, he did.
Well, Rattray White absolutely deserved the win there. It's a shame it ends like that, but Rattray White, fair and square, nailed the strategy and takes the win.
Wowee, well.
Now, throwing a block when you're out of fuel like that feels pretty dirty to me. In the end, I don't think it actually matters to the result. Zach Rattray White's the winner from Byron Phillips, Sam Chapman in the 3rd place, David Atkinson in 4th, and then Jamie Christensen in 5th. Rue Koistra, unexpected extra pit stop, but still finishes on the lead lap in 6th. There's Diane Feldman in 7th, Callum Newton in 8th, Justin Talent in 9th. Picked up the fastest lap of the race somewhere along there, apparently. Must have had a monster toe on some new tyres. And Brendan Crawford in 10th. And I think it was Ben Roberts and Caleb Hides.
Yeah, unfortunately, by the looks of things, those drivers retiring there just before the end of the race. Unfortunately, with their technical, crash for Caleb Hides. I think Roberts, unfortunately, choosing to pull it up short after his error coming into his final scheduled stop of the race. But yeah, big fight there at the front of the field, and it makes for an exciting run to the flag. And we now have our first driver looking to chat with us here, David. So I'll step aside for a moment and hand it over to you. Chat with I believe it's our race winner who's made it in first. They are being joined by second place. We went 3, 2, 1. Do you want to switch around and do 1, 2, 3, or do we want to wait?
We'll switch it up. We'll switch it up. So we'll go to race winner, Zach Rattray White. A lot of pit stops at the speedway, a lot of strategy, but my, oh my, fireworks on the final lap there.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to cough, but yeah, not bad.
It was an absolute duel in those final couple of laps, and all setting it up, some of the strategy we were noticing. You made some deliberate decisions there under the safety cars to take tyres, which otherwise you wouldn't have got for free under caution.
Yeah, the fuel size for the race was about the size of a Coke can, so yeah, taking tyres is pointless. Like, if we did like a full green stint, then it'd be around 8 laps, which is pointless. So yeah, only took one set of tyres when it was pretty much free. So
it was a very hot track though, and quite a few drivers seem to struggle in qualifying.
Yeah, they had a pretty gnarly tailwind into turn 1. It was only around 6 k's an hour, but when you go on this quick, it makes a bit of a difference.
Well, I mean, I've hurt my voice with those final couple of laps. What a show you guys put on. You did everything right with the amount of fuel, with the defending in the right places, getting that run to the checkered flag, and if it was only by small margins with a very late pass, you took super well-deserved win. Congratulations.
Cheers, mate.
That was race winner Zach Rattray White. We got the full podium for us, Daniel Yeaman. Byron Phillips, finished in second place.
That he did, and we for a second there thought, Byron, you might have had the job done out of turn 3, but unfortunately coughing on the run to turn 4 by the looks of things, which unfortunately locked that one up and took it away from you.
Yeah, look, I forgot to put the little bit extra fuel in because I didn't know they were burning so much. But yeah, it sort of just ran out about probably 100 metres to the line. It was a good race though. It was a pretty fucking cool last couple of laps.
Certainly was indeed. We were trying to pick out, could we figure out a race winner? The answer was no, we couldn't. Not until the very end of it there. How was it out there? We did note conditions were quite warm. So was grip at a premium for you tonight? Were you able to make it? I mean, obviously you made it work at the end. How close were you, those perhaps being on edge?
Oh, it was quite on edge during the first few laps, obviously, because I'm sitting so far back in the pack, so you got all that dirty air, so, it heats up the tyres, you start getting understeer and stuff. And yeah, there was a couple of times where I went in the fence, but yeah, it was quite on edge during that first, probably like 10 minutes of the race, and then it started spreading out, that's where, the good levels came back and all, the tyre started to get good.
Well, all in all, a pretty good night for you there. Unfortunately, doesn't quite end with the checkered flag coming to you first here on the Oval at Indy, but hopefully pretty happy with it all the same.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm very happy with the result. Didn't do quali, but haven't driven the car or track, but no need to. She can only know if I wanted to finish flat out. But yeah, happy with the result considering how far I was back in the pack during some of those couple of stints before the yellows and the pit stops. But yeah, overall it was a good night. The other boys at the series put on a good show. Love the racing. And yeah.
Well, there we are. Thank you for chatting with us, Byron. Well done tonight, and hopefully all the best we'll see you for the final race, which is coming up just next weekend, the final event here of the Category King.
Yeah, absolutely. See you guys. Have a good one.
And with Byron there tonight, it leaves just one final driver on the podium, and it was Sam Chapman who made his way up into third place. Hand back to you, David Haynes, to have a chat with the man who came home there, third across the line.
Another one of the drivers who really seemed to struggle in qualifying, but raced really well there, Sam.
Yeah, it certainly did struggle in qualifying. There was, I couldn't keep it on the track. So, came into the race going, well, we'll just try and keep it on the track throughout the race, and that ended up paying dividends.
Now, this says 4 stops for you, so it really was quite a restricted fuel tank.
Yeah, really restricted. I think we had it was about 8 or not, maybe max 9 laps out of the tank. So no more than 6-7 minutes really of fuel under green flag conditions. So really restricted tank. I was wondering whether it would end up being sort of a fuel game towards the end there, with a safety car coming out or anything like that. But pitted relatively early and just sort of filled it up to get to the end, and yeah, that ended up working out okay. But yeah, very restricted fuel tank. But I like that. That makes it interesting, keeps the strategy interesting.
Hot track was difficult in the race and in qualifying?
Yeah, it was. I've not done much in the Indy cars at all, and I only did a few practice laps. So as soon as you start going in that dirty air as well, you lose all that front end grip. So I'm fiddling around with, weight jacker and that sort of thing, not really knowing what I'm doing. It was relatively tricky out there. I wasn't really doing full, flat out laps really for most of it. Maybe like in full clean air it was okay, but yeah, certainly not in dirty air.
Well, good work on strategy, good work on keeping your nose clean, coming through from 12th on the grid with no qualifying time to finish on the podium at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for Motorsport Australia and ANZ E-Series Category King.
Yeah, no, thank you. Get through to the podium, bit of a surprise. These 3 cars, and a nice surprise after something in the mini stocks. So we'll see where it all shakes out.
We'll see you next time for Rallycross.
Absolutely. I'll have to do a bit of learning on that. I'm relatively slow in those at the moment too, so we might have to give it a bit of practice next time.
Stay flexible. Good luck.
Cheers, mate.
podium from Indianapolis Motor Speedway there. Zach Rattray-White with the win. An amazing duel with Byron Phillips. And Sam Chapman comes through to pick up third place.
That he does indeed. And well, it was a couple of weeks between the opening event and tonight's racing here, David, but it's a rapid turnaround for us, the drivers and the organisers. The final of the Motorsport Australia ANZ Esports Category King events is next Saturday night. As you mentioned there, Rallycross as we take to the Hell RX circuit at Lancabandon there. So make sure to join us on the 9th of November from 8:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time for that one. And therefore, we'll come to the point of crowning a Category King and the driver who masters all of the very disciplines that we have on offer here on the iRacing service.
Yeah, delightful. So wherever you're watching, you'll catch us in a week's time with SimSpeed TV coverage wrapping up Motorsport Australia and ANZ E-Series Category King. Today we were on the ovals and there's only one discipline left. Can't wait to see you in a week's time.
It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today.